This is Orcs Must Die 3! There were 3 of these. According to other people, this series hasn't changed much over time. I have to take their word for it because I've never encountered this before. I mean, I know that there are weapons and traps and spells, but beyond that, I'm not sure what to expect from it. Firstly, the tutorial is bloody useless. Mainly because it's just a big slideshow you have to find in the main menu. It does tell you what to do, but it's not on-the-job training like most games would give you. So you drop into level 1 utterly clueless. By pressing buttons, I quickly worked out you have a small sampling of equipment. You also have 2 slots to put them in. Well, technically you have 3 slots. But the first one is always locked to your character's main weapon. Since I only have 2 traps, I went with those, obviously. I placed a bunch of spike traps across the floor, and a bunch of arrow walls against, well, the walls. Each trap can only be placed in a very particular place, either the floor, the walls, or the ceiling. And if you try to put it somewhere else that you can't, it just goes... Once you're vaguely happy with things, press square to unleash the horde.
Alright, let's do this!
Well, the shotgun works.
Enemies are preparing to breach one of our gates. They've broken through a gate. Here they come.
Ah, crap. The traps take time to cool down. That spike trap fired again after about 15 seconds by my reckoning. And we have another wave coming in. And it's round about now it occurs to me I should probably place more traps. Traps cost coin to place. You earn coin by killing orcs. Speaking of killing orcs, my traps are doing the job. By the way, the orcs are trying to reach the blue rift at the other side of the level. Every orc that makes it through reduces the rift strength by 1. Lose all your rift points and you're defeated. You get the idea. At this point, something else occurs to me. Didn't something somewhere say the weapons have alternate fire? A grenade launcher! In a medieval swords and sorcery game. Why not? Oh yeah, every character has a unique double jump move, which I never used. Okay, these orcs are more resistant. And they're pushing me back further.
Oh, can we go again?
No, we can't. Also, victory! I have no idea what skulls are, but I just earned a bunch, which I'm very pleased about. And unlocked a new trap, the gravity pillar. Whatever one of those is. There's actually quite a number of traps, weapons and trinkets that you can unlock with the skulls. That's what they're used for. Some of the things unlock when you beat certain levels, but most of the stuff you're going to need skulls, and plenty of them. I used some of my skulls to purchase the Jar of Ghosts. Woo! Makes enemies run away when they hit you. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I never used it. I also purchased the Acid Geyser. I got so much use out of this. Level 2. And have you noticed the ghostly enemies walking around the level? They show the route the orcs will take to reach the rift. The map also shows you. The first level only had one route, one path to take. This level, however, has two that join up before entering the rift itself. But according to the map, only one of those routes will be used by the first wave. That means I only have to cover one route with traps to begin with.
Yeah, I'm good.
Here they come.
Enemies are preparing to breach one of our gates. They've broken through a gate.
Fun fact, acid damages enemies but also makes them vulnerable to follow-up physical damage, which coincidentally is what the arrow wart and spike trap both deal.
Of course we won!
Wave complete! And notice that the map now says the enemy will approach from the opposite side. Also, I haven't worked this out yet. And now I've noticed.
That's the way!
Another wave down, and the next wave is going to come from both sides at the same time. This is where things start to get tricky. Trying to cover both approaches with traps.
Exactly where I want it.
And they're coming from the right. And from the left. You see why this is becoming harder.
I love traps. That right there should be extra credit.
By the final wave, things are getting hectic. You can place traps as you go because you earn coin for kills, but you've still got to cover both paths because your traps have to cool down before they can fire again.
Where you going, huh? Another expected victory.
Level 3. You unlock additional equipment slots as you progress. Now that I've cleared 2 levels, I've got 2 extra slots. Sometimes when you get a break between waves, you trigger the next wave manually. Other times, the game gives you 10 seconds. Level 4 has two extremely distinct paths, making it very difficult to defend both at the same time. Final wave. Coming from both sides.
Enemies at the rift!
Floor flipper! Sorry, I like that one. Ah, little runny bastard! Those are kobolds, very fast. So fast, they can run straight over floor spikes before they trip them. Pain in the arse. I have placed tar pits to slow enemies, but jury's out as to whether they're effective here.
They're almost there! We only have half our rift points remaining! Stop them! Quickly!
Level 5. Notice that the inventory also has details at the top on enemy types you will face in the current level. Notice also, this level has two distinct paths up two completely different staircases. Again, annoying. Fortunately, I've now been given the barricade. Not strictly speaking a trap, the barricade is designed to block enemy movement. Apparently the orcs aren't smart enough to just hop straight over it like you can. They will search for an alternate path if you seal the one up that they're intending to use. Which means no more guarding two separate paths at the same time, you can just block one of them up. Of course, it does mean that you'll get twice as many orcs coming through one path, which is something to bear in mind.
Preparing to breach one of our gates! They've broken through a gate!
Whoa, that ogre seems bigger out here in the wild.
And remember, if he hits you, he will stun you. Ow!
Even though I now have more trap slots in my inventory, I have less floor space to actually place them on. Stairs can't hold floor traps, and I didn't equip any wall traps at the beginning. Plus the stair corners are, like most paths, quite wide, which means if you place a single trap, orcs might just jog round it.
Enemies at the rift!
Tell your friends! Oh wait, you can't because you're dead.
They're almost there!
Oh!
There are enemies in our rift room! We only have half our rift points remaining!
I have never been so happy.
Another victory! And the game announces that level 6 is a war scenario. I respond to this piece of news by chickening out and going back to the first few levels a few times. Because my theory being that I want to earn more skulls to upgrade my existing traps before I go into the war scenario. It also gives me an opportunity to test out other trap layouts. Here, I'm using the barricades to funnel orcs past my traps. And here.
Watch this.
And here. And here.
They're attacking a barricade.
I might have become a bit obsessed with this tactic. Having more equipment slots and more traps to choose from does make the earlier levels easier. However, I was a bit disappointed with how powering the level of the traps up themselves doesn't have much of an impact as I was hoping. The spike trap, for example, goes from having a cooldown of about 15 seconds by my reckoning to about 10 seconds at maximum upgrade. It's not exactly a seismic improvement, is it? Anyway, enough of this replay nonsense. Level 6! This is a war scenario. Basically, it's everything you've already seen, but bigger. Much bigger. Take everything you've learned thus far and fucking ignore it. Because normal tactics don't work here. Well, I mean, look at how many there are! It's ridiculous! My first attempt at this level, I used my tried, tested and patented barricade method. That quickly backfired, because all I'd done is make the Orcs route longer, not harder. My second attempt, I placed a bunch of tar pits in front of the entrance. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking either. Attempt number 3, I decided this time to be vaguely sensible. I placed a couple of barricades at the beginning of the bridge to force the Orcs down the middle of it, and then proceeded to fill the middle with a combination of confusion flowers and regular damage traps. I also placed some devices in front of the castle gate to protect it from stragglers that happened to get past. And after a few minutes it became apparent that this tactic against all my expectations was actually working. Did I mention the giant floor flipper? Whee!
I'm low on funds.
Even with the waves intensifying, the bridge defence held firm. Okay, some stragglers made it past, but even so. It is somewhat reminiscent of a game I played recently. They are billions, in the sense that you are holding off a massive attack. The only difference is that I'm missing the army. I mean that in the sense that I don't have an army, and I miss having them around. Because here I'm having to do all the work myself. Now this game will support 2 players, but first of all, that's not really the same thing, and second of all, good luck finding someone else to play this with. From here on in, things more or less stay the same. You do get extra enemy types like runners armed with bombs. They deliberately target your barricades for destruction. They're a pain in the arse when they're introduced. Also later on you get armoured trolls that are vulnerable to lightning damage, but they're again still massive damage sponges. But the game itself always follows the same predictable pattern. There are some handy traps to unlock. I liked the arcane dragon. Although it's only useful on the long straight section, I still tried to use it wherever I could though. Deep freeze is fun to use and quite deadly.
Die, die, die!
One severe problem you will encounter as you play throughout the levels, not having the right traps, or at least feeling like you're hamstrung by not having access to the full arsenal. Skulls are earned for completing levels with the most number of rift points remaining and as fast as possible, but those ones are one-time only skulls. You can earn skulls repeatedly, but only for as long as you keep breaking your own records for each level. Reach your zenith and the bonuses just stop coming. And because you will inevitably focus your skulls on upgrading your favourite traps and devices, you will neglect the others. And since you'll run short of skulls fairly quickly, there's no way round this problem. This happened to me twice, once at around level 5 when I felt like my traps were starting to get a bit short on power as the orcs got tougher, and the other occasion happened on level 11 when the game suddenly decided to introduce the armoured trolls, which are hugely damage resistant despite the fact that I had some zappy lightning traps. You can't buy everything, that's the problem. There's Endless Mode, which does exactly what you think it does. It gives you endless skulls. I'm kidding, of course it fucking doesn't. It does give you endless orcs. Joy. But what really clued me in as to what the developers intended for you to do, the weekly challenges. You see, because you can't earn a limitless supply of skulls anywhere else, this is how you do it. Weekly challenges. In other words, the developers seriously expected you to play this every goddamn week. I couldn't do that with Immortals Phoenix Rising. And I love that game. It's fun while it lasts. And it lasts a surprisingly long time, considering the lack of levels. But that's not necessarily a good thing. You do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and you get the point. Yes, you adapt your tactics sometimes, but generally once you find your groove with certain traps, you won't feel the need to vary your approach much. Just read the terrain, block the paths, and keep shooting until everything's dead. At least the game lives up to its name, eh? The levels don't take that long to complete a piece, and yet the game wants you to stick around for the long haul. It's kind of a contradiction. I think it's gambling on you playing the same levels over and over and over again. That's what it feels like to me. And I don't want to. I feel like I've seen everything this game has to offer, even though I haven't finished every level and didn't collect every trap. But the game doesn't want to give you the rest of the traps, and that's annoying to me. I can see them, I just can't get them. And you won't let me earn enough skulls to be able to buy them. It feels like there's an artificial roadblock in front of me with this. So, no. Anyway, that will do for my video of this game. What did you think of it? Leave a like or dislike down below. What did you think of Orcs Must Die 3? Are you one of the 24 people who have played it when you downloaded it, like me, from PlayStation Plus? Let me know down in the comment section. And for those of you who can't get enough of my dulcet tones, you can always subscribe, ring the bell for notification, because apparently that's a thing. Also, I'm starting to do this since the last video. And for those of you who consider me too annoying to bear, you can always share with someone else instead. See you next time.